anyone can be a creator now by providing either text or their conversations or the lectures they ever given or YouTube videos. Like I can download all of my subtitles and then just feed that to build a ChatGPT agent and then label it as like Sean agent, so that in the future anybody can talk to Sean easily on GPT store. I know there are some startups trying to do that, like you can talk to Warren Buffett, you can talk to Elon Musk, but obviously I believe these startups are going to die because... Hi everyone, so I have just finished watching the OpenAI DevDay, and it was crazy as fuck, it was mind-blowing, and it has just killed a lot of startups. Let's dive right into it. I have a lot of thoughts to share. So yesterday I saw some tweets and there were founders saying things like OpenAI just killed their $3 million startup and the only thing they got is a $500 credit, and that was like randomly selected for 5 candidates, and then they just give everybody in the same auditorium $500 credits for using OpenAI APIs. So I think this is not happening just to one startup. I'm sure globally, because when Sam mentioned how many users are actually developing using OpenAI, I believe he mentioned something like 2 million or something. There are many startups whose past 6 months, if not 1 year of work, just like this, gone. For instance, I'm sure some of you have heard that there's an app called Chat with PDF, or you can just fine-tune an image by talking to it, or you can use some sort of tool to create a design. All of these is something that the new ChatGPT 4 Turbo is capable of. I believe that all of these new features are just going to keep coming. So as founders, this is probably a really exciting and dark time in their founding journey. There's this other joke that I heard that for some of the investors in Asia, because they didn't watch the live at midnight, at the moment when they woke up, the first thing they asked their portfolio company is that, what is the difference between what you're building and what ChatGPT just launched? And the answer to that is very simple. Everything that we're building is the same, but ChatGPT does it better and cheaper. End of the story. So yeah, Sam just basically roasted the entire AI startup ecosystem. And I think this is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, and I'll explain why. I think it's a good thing because of the fact that ChatGPT didn't just stop there. They continued to push forward the state of the art and be like, hey, I know you guys have these use cases, and I know you're all building wrappers around my applications, but you know what? I'm just going to do everything at the same time. Because who knows, maybe the end of the story is that one AI platform should be capable of doing all of these smaller features that startups these days are building, like upload a PDF document and talk to it, or just write an email for me. But instead, ChatGPT is basically stopping them early by saying that don't do it because the next iteration of ChatGPT is just going to disrupt it. So I think that's the good side, because that pushes the founders to think more deeper vertical use cases where they can just have an advantage of. And that's very much in sync with what ChatGPT is trying to plan for the next step, which is GPT stores. And that is enabling everybody to build an API agent, and you can use that API agent to do a task, and you can open it to the public and anyone can use that agent. So for instance, if I am a doctor and I oftentimes do not have enough time to do consultations with my patients, I just upload loads and loads of my text or conversations or anything to ChatGPT and build a medical GPT, and anyone can just talk to that medical GPT for advice, and that could benefit so many people from the rural areas who don't have access to very high quality medical resources, especially in the developing world. So I think that those are really, really good innovations to some extent. The downside is that so far we're not seeing any competitor who's as comparable to ChatGPT or to OpenAI as we can see, and it seems like people are just lagging behind because of the fact that when ChatGPT just was launched later last year, they just keep iterating over the time this year. It turns out that people are just trying to catch up instead of leading ahead or launching something that's mind-blowing as much as what ChatGPT is already doing. And that causes a monopoly situation here because of the fact that if OpenAI is the only company that provides these capabilities, of course, they are trying to rebrand themselves as something like a platform. And they're trying to build something just like what Steve Jobs was building for App Store. They're building GPT stores, and they're hoping that more and more developers and people with domain expertise could just jump in and build GPT agents inside of the OpenAI ecosystem. But what they don't realize is that App Store is basically just a platform, and it has competition from Android. And it's not itself enabling a lot of the applications in those app stores. But instead, what OpenAI App Store is doing is that all of your applications with GPTs live based upon OpenAI's capabilities. Imagine how crazy that would be, right? Because that means that anybody, any applications, as long as you're like not connected to GPT, or let's say tomorrow Azure is down for some reason for an hour, all of your applications are going to stop, and there's no alternative out there. So this is concerning. I think this is very, very concerning. And I really hope that maybe someone, either Bard maybe, or maybe some other infrastructures from Asia, could really stand out and become like a competitor to OpenAI. At least that creates a more healthier environment for fair competitions and for alternative solutions for founders out there. And to me, what's really, really impressive is that I think what OpenAI has launched is going to redefine what creator economy really means to the outside world. And what I mean by that is that anyone can be a creator now by providing either text or their conversations or the lectures they ever given or YouTube videos. Like I can download all of my subtitles and then just feed that to build a ChatGPT agent and then label it as like Sean agent, so that in the future anybody can talk to Sean easily on GPT store. I know there are some startups trying to do that, like you can talk to Warren Buffett, you can talk to Elon Musk, but obviously I believe these startups are going to die because first of all, they rely on OpenAI, and second of all, if they stick to their own platform, they're going to be excluded from the GPT ecosystem. So eventually people will have duplicates of these kind of applications on GPT Store, and then they will probably ditch them. But instead, for any individual creator or for anyone with domain expertise in anywhere, like a doctor or a mentor in startups, like Sam himself presented that in the OpenAI Dev event, or for example, someone who can teach you how to write, can teach you how to do math, can teach you how to learn a language. They can just upload how they teach their students in the previous time and then just upload it and train a version of themselves. And then in this way, you're able to just log into GPT every day and do your task just by a natural conversation. And I know people have seen applications like this in the past where these companies are just building wrappers around OpenAI and then allowing you to have like a personal assistant. But I would think that a good comparison is that you can build native applications in mobile using Swift or Java or Kotlin today. And you can also use maybe like React Native. The performance is always going to be much better in native applications. When you write just in Swift or when you write just in Kotlin, it's going to run faster in iOS system and it's going to run faster in the Android system. But React Native also works, but it sort of goes around these two native languages to write applications. Similarly now, you can still go around the GPT ecosystem, build your own agents, run your own database, launch your agent using your own host servers, and just don't use anything that GPT store ecosystem is using, but only like call their APIs. Yes, you can do that. But I would say the performance in the future or the lags or anything, it will be better on GPT ecosystem. I'm not sure, but I'm just predicting this might happen. And I hope that there would be some alternatives out there for these kind of agent builders who will eventually, I can switch platforms, I can switch AIs easily. And in that case, that helps to have a competitive and healthy sort of ecosystem for people to continuously to contribute to this new creator economy of agents. And when I say creator economy, one thing I forgot to add is that you're going to get paid. The best doctor who give the best advice on, say, back pain or knee pain or anything, these kind of diseases, given your situation, is going to stand out in the store for medical doctors. And these people will get a lot of the cashback for the knowledge that they provide to the society, right? So this is a good thing. And another use case would be like, I can imagine in my high school back then, if we don't have a very, very good math teacher or English teacher in my school, then somebody is going to stand out in the GPT store, and perhaps I can just go talk to teacher X on GPT store and I can learn much faster that way. So it's going to democratize a lot of the knowledge sharing from individual experts to the general public. I'm pretty excited for that. And now back to the founders. I think it's going to be a hard time for startup founders to work through what sort of use cases are going to be something that they can persuade their customers, they can persuade their investors about they are different. They're something that ChatGPT cannot do. But I think it's going to be hard because so far, I believe that a lot of the developers will definitely flood into GPT Store and launch their agents, and perhaps some agents will really perform really well, and there's just really no point building another psychologist AI out there from scratch. And anybody can perhaps just call the API of the psychologist top star agent on GPT Store and then plug it into any other applications, right? You don't have to create your own assistant. You can probably just leverage the API of the assistant that's already, on the top of the rank. And I have repeatedly heard startup founders saying that they feel really lost. Not just startup founders, but also people who work in the tech industry, people who work in corporate world, people who are like writing code, or people who are just writing like some of the basic codes instead of complicated architecture level code. They feel very lost because they don't know if anything that they do will make sense still in the next 5 years. I definitely feel that, and I personally feel lost too. In a large company, it's very hard and it's very slow to push for change. Even if all the leadership will be telling you, hey, we're going to embrace AI, we have our own generative AI APIs for you to use, but it's going to take a long time for them to fully adopt these kind of applications, these kind of APIs to their current existing workflow, because whenever a revenue stream has been set up so stably, it's just so hard to change the direction of a giant ship. And I think that's probably still an opportunity for founders, because large companies are going to react much slower than smaller companies out there. But it's just that you need to really figure out where is your insights or data that you can provide to train your GPT to a level such that you can survive in this new GPT store game or ecosystem that OpenAI just created for this world. So this is truly an iPhone moment, and I think everyone should be excited. And it's fine to feel scared or find it very creepy or find it really, really daunting and feeling lost. I think these are all okay emotions to have right now. I myself had an emotional damage because I tried to create several applications in the past, and I think a lot of them were just redundant now compared to what GPT is already capable of in its ecosystem. But I think we should keep the hope up and look forward to what's going to happen next, and just keep building, keep exploring, keep discovering. There will be a very interesting future coming soon. Thank you.